Welcome everyone to our Getting Started with Thinkorswim today. I'm Connie Hill. I'm sitting in for Cameron May, who typically teaches this class. Last week we focused on charts, and it was really kind of the beginning steps. How do you use the charts? Well, I'm hoping you practice those things you learned last week, because this week we're going to up the notch. We're going to level up your level of understanding in what you can do with your charts. That's what's on tap for today. Now, I'm happy that we have Barb Armstrong in the chat. She's here to maybe help field some questions, maybe some things I can't quite get to. She knows Thinkorswim. She's been using it for years as well. And so as you have those questions, ask us. We're happy to help you out with anything that we can. I'll keep my eye on the chat, but Barb will also keep her eye on there as well. Now, I hope you're following us on X. I'm Connie Hill CS. Barb is Barb Armstrong CS. We'll post educational content, things that we kind of notice about the markets or charts or particular stocks. We'll share that information with you as we come across it. And so they're just kind of some little nuggets and tidbits that you can get along the way. All right, let's go through our disclosures and get down with our agenda of the day, as I've got a lot that I'd like to cover with you. What we talk about today is for illustrative and educational purposes. Don't consider it a recommendation. Options carry a high level of risk and are not suitable for all investors. Paper money software application, that's what we're using here today. It's the downloaded version of Thinkorswim, so it's software you actually install on your computer. It's a little bit different than the live account in a couple of aspects, and so we try to point those out to you, but overall, man, it's a nice, I'm going to say 95% roughly functionality of what the live account will do. If we talk about probabilities, they're theoretical in nature. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All right, this is kind of a little overview of what this series is about, but I know Cameron has gone through lessons 1 through 8 that are very specific, and then we'll do some additional lessons. So today I'm calling ours part 2 of the charts. And there were a couple things that we didn't get to last week that we're going to start with here today. Let me come over here to my Thinkorswim. And what I want you to notice is on the left-hand side, I have a watch list. You probably have your own personal watch list as well. This is a public watch list. It's the NASDAQ 100. And one thing that's really nice is we can link any watch list to the charts as well as other areas on the website, but we're focusing on the charts here today. And so what you'll need to do is, if you have not set this up yet, this is how you link. Basically, you're going to come and click in this area. Now, I've selected a 1 in a red box, and I've also selected 1 in a red box right there, and that allows the charts to link. And so as I come down this list, here's APP, here's Team, here's STX. You can see you can just go down your list and see what's on that chart. Now, if you wanted, you could click on that ticker symbol. I just went to my keyboard and I just hit my down arrow. So right now, this is my keyboard going down. Okay. That is some functionality you will probably use day in and day out. Now, let me just click over here on my screen here. I'm going to click in that box, and you do not have to pick the one red. Okay, I happen to, but we have 9 choices for you here. You might use some of the links for certain purposes. In most of my classes, I have the one red as my primary link, but you could use whatever you want. Okay, and then the other areas of the website, or not website, but the software you might want it to go to might be, for example, say on the live news. If I come over here to my live news, you can see I've got a 1 red in here as well. So it'll bring up for me whatever the ticker symbol is right there, MAR, and then we'll be able to see the news on it. I also have it linked over to my trade tab. There we go. You can see I've got a 1 red there as well. Okay, so really focusing on where can we have some efficiencies by linking those together. So are we focusing on the charts right now? You thought this was the basic of Thinkorswim. So this class is getting started with Thinkorswim, and it is basics. So we'll focus on different areas. There's a lot of areas of the Thinkorswim platform to explore and to understand. And so today we are doing part 2 of the charts. Last week we did part 1 with some really basic functionality. And so today we are working on the charts kind of part 2. All right, so you're in the right place. All right. I want to share with you how I create a toolbar, which for me is one thing that I really like. I think for me, it's a helpful way to set some things up. It's called a toolbar. And when we create the toolbar, we can put our favorite drawing tools on it as well as some other things. Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to come over here to the gear. The gear gets us to our chart settings. So that one you're going to use a lot. Good thing they don't wear out. Click on that toggle. And then here we are under general. And then I'll highlight this for you. We're going to come down to right there where it says My Tools, and it's off right now. Okay, that means the tools are off. Okay, that's the default. We're going to come down here and we're going to say on each chart. You could also choose a single panel. I like on each chart, so I'm going to choose on each chart. We're going to say apply. And then what do we have? Well, we have something here. Let me highlight this again that all of a sudden appeared that wasn't here. This little section popped in. That's my toolbar. And on my toolbar, I've customized it to some of the favorite things I like to use and use repeatedly. Okay. This little icon here, this is a push pin. And if you have the push pin vertical, it will pin that little toolbar open. If you want it to hide out of the way, sometimes come and click on it and make the push pin kind of go at a diagonal angle. And you can see, look at that. The toolbar disappeared. To get it back, you just bring your mouse up in this area and the toolbar will come down again. I'm going to pin it for our purposes here today. All right. Now, when you go ahead and you say put the tools on each chart, you are going to have some real basic ones. You'll probably have the trend line icon, maybe T, this is for texting, or not texting, duh, writing some text out, labeling on your chart. But I've got a couple of styles here. In fact, I've got 4 styles that are showing. And so what would we do to get those on there or to modify? Come over here to the far right where this gear is. And this gear allows us to build and personalize this toolbar. So you can see what it's showing for me, my text note first, then that trend line, then the price level. And you'll note, well, you can't see mine completely, but you'll notice on mine, I did not keep the words Fibonacci retracement. I kept the little icon that looks like a percentage that means Fibonacci retracement, but I edited that button. So I'm just click on it here because we're going to edit. I could rename the button if I wanted to have it say something. And that's really what I did and it came in initially as Fibonacci retracements, and I just did my backspace on that, wiped it all out. And so that I just keep the name as whatever the symbol is, this little icon up here, that percentage that means Fibonacci. Now you'll also notice in here, there are different things that we could add. Now I've got several styles on here because I go back and forth through a lot of different styles throughout the day. To add a button, let's go ahead and add something we don't have on here right now. So we'll click on the add button. You can choose from any of the drawing tools, which I have the drawing tools on top. You can come over here and you can put in a study if you want. You could put in a study set. What I've done is a lot of different styles, but you could also do some time frames here. So up here at the top, kind of on the chart we have D for daily. But if we wanted to maybe put a couple of other charts on there, we could. Maybe you go back and forth between, say, a 1 day, 1 minute chart. And we'll come back here and let's say maybe another time frame here. Let's go 3 month daily. Okay. So I've just selected those two. We can't see them right now, but as I scroll down here, they're sitting down here. So if we wanted to do the time frame back and forth fairly quickly, we could. If you wanted this in a different spot, you didn't want it in the bottom. Suppose you want this 1 minute, 1 day, 1 minute chart up a little bit higher. What we could do is I'm going to click and drag. Okay, I'm going to put it between my rectangle and my channel. Okay, so you can put them in any order that you want. And then once you've got it set up, you're like, yep, this is what I want. Then go ahead and hit save. You can actually save more than what I'm showing here, which right now I'm showing what, maybe about 20 different choices that we can choose from. And so, you know, it could be as customizable as you would like it to be. All right. Let's see, James got a question here. I'm new to Thinkorswim and do not know how to clear all the extra screen to one screen to work on with .cam. Or maybe it's just extra screen to one screen to work with. I think maybe what you might be talking about, James, is possibly you have more than one chart up at a time. If I'm not guessing what you're saying correctly, feel free to correct me. I've actually got a grid chart here of 4, and I'm seeing the one in that's kind of the red box in the top upper right corner. But what I've done is I've said maximize the chart, and so it maximized the one that I wanted. I'm going to hit restore cells, and it's going to put it back into the 4 grids that I started with. Okay, I'm going to come back to let's come back to Marriott here, and I'm going to say maximize cell because that's the one that I had started out with, was in that upper right-hand corner. Okay. If that's not what you're asking about, let me know. We'll fix it. Okay. So you can draw your own toolbar however you want. Okay. So really easy to do that. Now let's work with some of our drawing tools. First one I want to bring up here, we're going to bring up SPX. And I want to draw a channel line. Okay, so this is a kind of a longer chart, so I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to use my channel bar icon. Now, if you don't have it in your toolbar, another way you can access it is by clicking on drawings, drawing tools, coming down to here, or come down to the bottom right-hand corner. It'll show you what your active tool is. So right now it's showing me the channel because that's what I just selected. Or clicking on your mouse wheel scroll, click on that mouse wheel and it brings up the chart, the charts right here. Okay, so we've got a channel selected there. And really when you're drawing a channel, you might connect a low point. I'm going to just kind of start it here. And I'm going to try to connect it with other low points. It's kind of going up at a fairly sharp angle right here. Typically, I'll do the support side first. So the side on the right, and then I clicked it to kind of lock that in. And then it gives me this perpendicular line here. And I try to connect at least to 2 spots in the channel. And when I have it, go ahead and click, anchor it into place. Now, in this case, I have gone in and changed the color. The default color here is white, but I went in, I changed it to this lovely lavender. You know, all I did really was I did a right mouse click and I said edit properties. And then I picked the color that I wanted it to use on each one. Okay. You can also choose the width of these lines and you can choose which ones show. So I have the outside lines, they're a little bit bolder. And then I came in here and that 0.5 means draw the midpoint line in the chart. And I have it dotted. Okay, so this dotted line represents the midpoint through the channel. Now, why that can be helpful is because many times we'll find that stocks might be traveling in a channel, and sometimes the midpoint line will act as support. Like, look how it has acted as support through this period of time. Sometimes it might act as resistance. So say what the index is doing right now, kind of looks like that midpoint's a little bit of resistance there. So it can just kind of add that extra level of clarity. Morning Russ wants to know if I'll have time to explain level 2 view. We'll see if I can squish it in at the end. Okay, that is a little bit more advanced functionality. And since this is a getting started with class, I try to keep it fairly basic, okay? But I think what you're referring to here is, if I'm not mistaken, that maybe you're looking for, if you go to the trade tab and then you want the active trader and you want to see what the level 2 is on that. I think that's what you're asking about, but I'm not positive. Okay. Again, if we have time at the end, I will jump over there. But for the time being, really want to keep with some of the basic functionality a little bit beyond what we did last week. Last week was very basic. All right. So we've drawn the channel on our SPX. Now, another thing you can do, I'm going to go back out to our 2-year chart, is, and actually let's use a different chart here. We're going to use Google here. On Google, on this 2-year chart, you can see I've got a lot of old lines. And, you know, some of these I drew 2 years ago. All right. And there, I guess I was using green as my price level color. Okay. So I've got a lot of green out here, some blue. In any case, sometimes you're like, you know, the lines were great, but I just want to start over fresh. I just would like to clean the slate. Okay. A couple things you can do. One is I do have a style that I added to my toolbar that's called bare. B-A-R-E, meaning nothing. Okay. Or another thing you can do is you can come down here to the drawings here and then come down here to where it says remove drawings. And then this, I'm going to hit clear drawing set so it erases everything. You can do it piece by piece if you only wanted to erase a few things. We're going to say clear the drawing set, and it's going to say, are you sure? Because it's going to all disappear. You say, yes, I'm sure. And then you can start out with a clean chart. And sometimes that's helpful. You know, things will trade in a range for a while, and then maybe they adjust. And so you're kind of adjusting your lines to adjust for what the chart is doing right now. All right. Let's see. It looks like we have a survey out in the chat window. Now, from time to time, people will, I should say, we will ask or put in a survey to get your opinion on our session here today. Now, I don't control this, Barb doesn't control this. Other powers that be control this. In any case, it's an easy survey, 2 radio buttons, plop, plop on a scale of 1 to 10, what you think, plop, plop, you could be done. There's a couple of questions if you would like to answer. We'd love to have your information there. These will go to our managers, they'll go directly to us. I will read everything that you say and we'll love it. Okay, because these are surveys are to help the classes be good for you. Okay, so if you have suggestions, absolutely let us know what they might be. Now, Barb will post that a couple times in our session here. And if you want, you can click on the link while the session's active, just kind of let it sit in the background until it's time for you to leave or till we wrap the class up, and then fill out the survey, all right? Appreciate surveys that get done for us. We really appreciate the time you take to do it. Let's see. Would like to know more about this during intraday. Would like to learn, oh, you're talking maybe Morning Rush about level 2 quotes on the intraday charts. Okay, basically level 2 shows you what exchanges are quoting what prices. Now on the Thinkorswim platform, if we go to the order trade page and we want to put in an order, we just have it defaulted to whoever has the best rate. We don't care what exchange the quote came from, but if you want to take from a particular if you want to use one in particular, okay, you're like, oh, I want to use the NASDAQ index or whatever, not index, exchange, then you can, okay? But it's probably not something we'll delve into here. But if you get into futures, sometimes Ben will go through a little bit of that information in the futures class, okay? But that's kind of what that level 2 allows you to do. Have I used it? Not a whole lot, to be honest with you. I really haven't. Because I'm usually interested in execution of the trade fairly quickly, if it can be fairly quickly, versus saying I'm going to haggle over 2 cents. Okay, so that's kind of my perspective on it. There's a question, something in here. We need a way to separate color blocks to our level 2. To the best competitors, let their users do. Okay, so yeah, I think a little bit more request on in that nature here. Okay. Next up, let's do, I wiped out all these drawings on Google, didn't I? What if I made a mistake? What if I didn't want to wipe them out? I'm like, oh, I didn't want to wipe them out. Is there an undo button? Well, there's not something you can click, but there is what's called a keyboard hotkey, and Control Z will allow you to restore what you just deleted. Okay, so I clicked here into the chart, I hit Control Z on my keyboard, and it all came back. Okay, so if you make a mistake and you just want to get rid of it, Control Z is your friend. Okay, Control Z, Control Z. Once you know it, you're like, oh, this is handy to have this. All right, earlier today, and I will do Control Z again, see if it'll clear things out. I guess I have to be there first. Okay, I'll come back here. I'm gonna clear this out. Remove drawings, clear drawings set. Yes, I really want to get rid of it. Off it goes. Now we're gonna move into maybe say like 3-month time frame here. All right, here's our Google. Earlier today, I put a trade on Google that I'm going to show you. And then I'm going to show you some different drawing tools you could use if you wanted to say document the trade. All right, so earlier today, I put on a spread. This is for option traders. Let me kind of clean this up a little bit. And it's down here in my unallocated section. And I did this trade here on Google. There we go. I did a short put vertical trade. I did a 380, 375, 380 is my short leg on this short put vertical. Now, you don't have to do this, but some people find this helpful, and I'll document trades in my class this way, okay? Sometimes not before your eyes, but sometimes after the fact, I'll go in and set it up this way. So if I have this trade, this 380, 375 put spread, what might I want to do over here on the chart? Well, one, I like to know where my short leg is. So I will come in here and I will find where 380 is. And I'm drawing my horizontal line, and I am just going to try to get it as close to 380 as I can. Okay, that's as close as I can do for the moment. And then I'm going to do a right mouse click, and I'm going to say edit properties. And I'm going to get rid of the 33 cents because I just want to know exactly where is that line where my short leg is. And then up here, something I can do is I can put in, well, what is this trade? So it's a 375, 380. My abbreviation for short put vertical is SPV. And then sometimes I like to have the expiration date out there. So I'm just going to put June 18. Now, it will not show this unless we come over here and say show, and I'm going to put it on the right. Okay. And then if I want it to maybe not blend in with maybe some other white things, I might change the color on it. I'll just go powder blue right now. And so then I'm like, okay, that's my trade. Now you could also, if you wanted, you could use the rectangle and you could say, okay, I want this thing to stay above 80. And you might color it in here. You might go, oh, I am going to color this green because if it's in green, we'll put light green here. then you know, okay, it's this whole area above here is that where we'd ideally like the stock to go for this trade to work out for us. Okay. You don't have to do that, but if you'd like to, then you can. Now you know how. Let's see on this. This question came up last time, and I'm hoping that we covered it, but I'm going to just tell you one more time. Somebody had asked the question, how do I make all my charts the same? Okay, and that's by using these styles. Okay, so if I come to my styles and I say load style, I've got a lot of different, I'm going to say studies set up, but I saved them under styles so that it'll do a black background, so that it'll do my candles just like this. So it'll put whatever the study is that I have selected. So for example, if I wanted to do, say 10, 30, and 50-day simple moving average, you go and build those under the studies, which we did. We showed you kind of how to build that last week. So here's our simple. If I wanted to add another simple moving average to what I have on there now, I've got a 10, a 50, and a 30. Maybe I want to add a 100. Okay, I'll add 100. We've got to make it a different color than blue, red, or green. So we'll make this one this yellow color, okay? So that they all have a little bit different color so we can tell which one it is. And then if I wanted to update this style, I could, or I could save it as a study set. Again, I use list styles usually. And then you just say save style. It's going to pick up that last name. So if I wanted to do one with a 100 on here as well, then I'd change the name, click on include patterns and study set, and then hit save. Now, I actually already have one of those, so I'm not going to do it again. All right. And so I'm just going to hit cancel here. But that's how, if you're going down your watch list and you want to look at the charts and you want them to have all that same chart in the background, easily accomplish that with a study set or a style. All right. Let's take things over to COF. Capital One Financial. On Capital One Financial, I have, is that the right one? Yeah, this is the right one. This is an existing trade. And if I come over here to Capital One, I have a call spread and a put spread on here. Technically, this is two credit spreads, so it's an iron condor when you put those two credit spreads together. And my short leg on the put is 185, and my short leg on the call is 200. Okay, so what I did is I came out and just drew a line at 200, just like I showed you, doing the price level and having it show the value. And then I have my 185 down here. Now we could also put in an alert here. What if, for example, you wanted to know if it was getting up close to 200, okay, like maybe 199, 198. You could come and put your mouse in this area. You could do a right mouse click. You could say create alert, and then it goes and grabs the price for you. Sometimes it doesn't know if you want it to go at or above or at and below. Okay, sometimes it guesses right, sometimes it doesn't guess right. Okay, but then say you wanted to add an alert in there as well to just notify you. And I have my set up to notify with a sound or a tone, an email, and this mobile means text message. Okay, if I just want to broadcast, hey, you hit the alert, then you have different ways. You don't have to choose all of those. You could choose one of them if you wanted. Okay, but say you're not staring at it at the moment when it goes off, it's nice if you're like working in your email or whatever, that it sends you a little notification for that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit create. And where did he go? Let's come up to the messages. Oh, I needed to put at or above. I put at or below. So we're going to do it one more time. We're going to say create alert. Okay, this time I'm going to say at or above. Okay, I picked at or below before, didn't want that. All right, now we can see our alert. And at any time, if you want to adjust that alert, you can. You can drag it around the chart to adjust it. So suppose you said, oh, I want it to go a little bit lower than that. Well, I really want to know at about 190 something else, say 197.70. Okay, you drag it and it should lock in here. It is, what is it doing? Let me just click on my icons here for Thinkorswim and see. Not sure why it's doing that to me, but it's unfortunate because it is making my mouse stick. So I'm going to hit escape to undo that. Usually, maybe I'll drag it a bigger amount. It should come up with a confirmation here. Wondering if it's hiding behind here. It's not hiding behind here. So I'm not sure why it's being a little bit difficult on us, but that's how you can set an alert. You can also make purchases directly out of the charts. I really hope I don't have to kill my Thinkorswim here, but I might. Just seeing, did it go to any of my other charts? It did not. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to hit the escape again. Escape gets us out of it. Not sure what its problem was. Now, what if you wanted to buy something directly off the chart? You can't. Right mouse click. You can say buy custom and do it with a bracket order, a stop loss, or a limit order. Or if you just wanted to buy it, you're just trying to do a quick buy, you could do it from this screen as well. What's helpful on this if we do buy custom and do OCO bracket? Maybe you wanted to be able to see your chart because you're deciding where is the target, where is the stop loss, and so it's helpful to have it up here while you're still looking at your chart. Okay, so we can do that. All right, we are going to let's just delete this. We're not going to create a trade right now on it. We are going to go to APP. AppLovin. AppLovin is just having a big moment today. So it looks like it's up about 11%. I'm not sure what the news was, but there was some decent move. It's got above average volume today and yesterday, moving in on these moves. Now, what I have set up here is a target and a stop. I did purchase this by using the chart, and I have my target up there based on a longer range chart and seeing where maybe the next potential area might be. Okay, so if you want to, let's go 3 years. I don't think we needed to go out 3 years to see it. Yeah, we can see it here. We can see that kind of an area of resistance or maybe a next target area might be around that 675. Okay, is where that one is. I'm going to take us back to we'll go to our 6 month here. Okay, but what if you wanted to change it? What if the trade's advancing? You're doing well in the trade and you want to move your stop loss up? You can figure out where you want it, right? And I'm going to try the drag and drop on our stop and limit orders here. Hopefully they don't have the same issue that my alert did, but you should be able to drag and drop it. So let's suppose you wanted to go a little bit below the midpoint of this big candle here today. Okay, you can drag it, you can drop it, then it's going to bring the order up for you. And you'll just want to verify, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. I want my stop now at 544 and change. Okay. If you like it, go ahead and hit send, and it just moved your stop loss for you. Okay. So again, just working off the charts. Now, last week, somebody had a question that they wrote in. You know, when you're watching the video, because some of you are able to be here live and you'll go back and look at the recording, or some can only look at the recording. When that happens, you people that are watching the recording have the opportunity to ask questions as well. So somebody asked me a question. In fact, I just barely answered it this morning. They said, I really think it would be nice if when I moved my mouse along to the candlesticks, if I could have a price ballooning out so that it's dynamic as I move from candle to candle. Well, if you put your mouse on a candle, you can see the data associated with that candle up here, right? The date, the open, high, low, close, etc. They kind of wanted to see it as a bubble. Now, I don't know that there's that exactly as a bubble on what the current price is, okay? You can put on a bubble in chart settings to say, show the current price. So that's over here on this right-hand side at the top. Show the last price bubble, okay? And that's actually what I believe this 573.13 is that bubble, okay? Or something that I'm going to show you right here. We're going to go to the gear. We're going to show you data box. Okay, and there's a couple of ways you can do the data box. I'm going to show you the first way is floating. Okay, so I'm going to say apply and OK. And can you see this box that shows the date kind of flooding out into the screen? And it's showing what the open, high, low, close, and range are. So those pieces of data that we get up here when we're just on a particular day, it's going to replace that. Okay, and then it's going to give you also information for any of the studies that you happen to have up. Okay, so you can see it's showing what the moving average is at a particular day. You can see all of those change. You can see it's all color coded, with the red being the 30, and I think the blue is the 10 and green's the 50. And we put in that new 100, we put that one in yellow. But you can also see down in the volume, as we go day to day here, you can see that volume just refreshing for every single candle day. Now, to some of you, this might be maybe a little too much information, and you might not like it. And there might be some of you that are like the person that wrote into me and said, how can we do this? That's what your data box does for you. Now, there's another way you can have it be displayed as well. We're going to come back here, and this is called fixed. So we're going to go and just show you what the fixed looks like. Now, the fixed, you just kind of decide where you want it positioned. Okay, so maybe you want it over here. We could just go put it over on top of our watch list. Okay, but then you're going to see the data changes again, just like it did in the floating panel. Okay, but it's all over here. Okay, and again, you decide where the placement of that goes, but gives you the same type of information. Okay, oops, let's see. Question here says, is that only for a stock or also options you can move the stop on a limit on the chart? Well, let's go back and take a look at that. Ricebird's helping out with some comments. Thank you, Ricebird. All right, I am going to turn the data box off. Okay, I'm going to say off. We're going to clean our charts up here a little bit. And let's see what I have as far as some orders. And to see if we can adjust them in the charts. Okay, so I've got a long call vertical spread here for one of our classes. This will be for our class tomorrow. We're down in the trade a little bit, but you can see I do have an order here for the options. So it's in my working orders. And if we come down to BE, you can see that I've got a stop in place for a place that we need to be out of the trade if it's just not going well, or a place where we'd be happy to take target profits, which I think we said about 50% on this one. Okay. Now, if I go over to BE's chart, the question is, well, can I move my orders from there? Well, number one, they're not going to be displayed like they are exactly on the stocks, but you can see here, I'm going to kind of move this down so we get our target in there. So we can come over here and we can balloon on this little red oval thing. Shows us what what legs are, and it's saying does it say 222 there? The stop right now is at $2.22. The target is at 722. Okay, that's kind of the data we were looking at in the working orders. So if you want to change them, can you? Yes, the answer is you can. Let's see if it'll work. And then I'll probably do an undo. I'm going to try to drag. Come on, little stop guy. Drag. Oh, he is not dragging down. I'm just going to change the time frame real quick and get it back to our 3-month chart that wasn't zoomed in. Weird. You should be able to click and drag. Now, again, I'm not sure why mine is having issues. Or if you did want to close it out altogether, you're like, oh, I don't want my stop there, and you just want to cancel it, click on the X. Same thing on the target, click on the X. But you should be able to, yeah, mine is being a little bit weird right now. You should be able to drag and drop it though, okay? We could also here say cancel replace order. It'll bring up the order. It'll flood in our current target price, 722. You know, maybe you say, oh, I want to change it to whatever. Then you can go ahead, type it in and change it there. All right, I'm going to hit escape to get out of that. Let's see. Oh, but Lakshmi's saying the drag only works on the chart if it's a stock trade. I'm going to say I'm not positive on that because typically I do not adjust my option trades this way. Typically, I go into my working orders and I've already figured out a reason and some math why I would want to change it to a different order. So maybe that is the case. Maybe it just shows us, although I'm going to look at something here. If we come under options. I was hoping there might be something special in there, but I don't think there is. All right. One last thing that I think many of you know how to do, but if you're learning the charts, you don't necessarily know how to do this at the beginning, okay? You have seen us share scripts with you, okay? There's one script that I have. I know Barb uses it on her charts frequently that shows performance of a stock, okay? And if I come down here and I click on my studies, and I've called this labels, and I've called mine labels year to date, month to date, week to date. And I double click it, goes into my chart as a study. I'm going to say, okay, for whatever ticker symbol you happen to be on, it's going to give us the year to date change on this, the month to date, the week to date, and then some additional characteristics of a stock like a PE ratio, dividend yield, and so forth. It'll give you that kind of information on it. Okay. So this one, like I said, I've just called it labels. And you're like, well, Connie, that's kind of cool. I want the same label you have there. Well, I'm going to share it with you. And I will share it with those that are in the recording as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it over in the text box here. So those on the recording can see it. Those of you that are here live, I'm putting this in. And remember, anytime we share scripts with you, they're never guaranteed as to time or accuracy. So I've shared it with you. You're like, okay, that's nice. Now what? What do I do? Come up here to the top to the setup. Say open shared item. And just because I had it already copied it into my computer short-term memory, I'm just going to do a paste. And then I'm going to hit a preview. And this is the label that it's going to show for you, okay? Now later you can go in and change it if you don't like that, okay? Then you do import, and then you have to remember what you called it, okay? Because you want to be able to go out and find it so it can appear on your chart. It's just not going to appear there because you open a shared item, okay? I'm not going to bring this in again because I don't want it to junk up and have duplicates of a study. So I'm going to hit cancel. Okay, but then you would do what I did. You would go to your studies. You would come over here And like I said, I called mine labels. And then I know which label it is because there are some different ones that I have. And then you've got to double click on it to bring it over here so you can see it on the chart. Okay. Now that you know that, that's going to open up several possibilities for you. As now you're like, oh, okay, I can be smart. I can be in the know. I can do this on my charts too. Not just the instructors can have it, but you too can have it. All right. Well, you guys, my time is up here today, but I do want to encourage you to make sure that you're trading or following our Trader Talks YouTube channel. That's how you find our content. And it makes it easy to navigate our playlist. We have different sections that we'll put in some videos for you. One's called bite-sized content. Let's see what Barb did last time. Barb shows something on the Market Watch tab in her short video. I showed one that was building a column structure on your monitor tab and then being able to use it other places in your Thinkorswim platform. Okay. Now, again, if you'll fill that survey out for me, we always appreciate it when you take the time to fill that out. Appreciate that. If this was helpful to you today, hit the thumbs up on your way out. That lets other people know you found some value here and they would appreciate knowing about it. And then follow Barb and I on X, Barb Armstrong CS, Connie Hill CS. All right, coming up next. Well, let's see who is coming up next. Trading index options with Ben Watson. I'll actually be in the chat there with Ben. And so we'll see you there about the top of the hour. Thank you, Barb, for your help in the chat. Thank you to all of you. Bye-bye.